Good morning. Give me a minute here to get set up because I'm going to start doing something a little different now with this. I want to start covering what I think is most important first in the morning so that people are kind of set up here. And I just want to start there. So let me just give me a moment to get set up and then we'll start. But I think it's really important to go over what happened today with Apple. I really think that people need to understand this. So we're going to go through this and just give me a moment here and just to get set up. So, all right, all set up now. Great. Hey, good morning, everybody. So I just want to start here and we're going to jump right into it. Okay. And let's just start. So there's a couple key things that came out with Apple last night, and people need to be aware of this because it is actually very big news. So one of their largest cash cows, we can clean this chart up while we're doing this. One of their largest cash cows is their App Store. Okay. And I understand that the stock's bidding up this morning, probably on some of the Apple Car news that's coming out that they're looking at 2024. But their App Store, this 30% that they take is now in jeopardy. And there's a couple reasons for that, and we're just going to start with them because I think it's really important, and then we'll go through a list of other stocks. But to start with, this is the statement that the Apple came out with, and it's really important for you to understand this because they get 30%. So all of a sudden, Spotify is not having to pay that 30%. Netflix, if you use their system, they're not taking 30%. That is huge for these companies because it's all just straight cash right to their bottom line. So everyone's going to have to change their metrics on Spotify, on Netflix, as far as what earnings are. Okay, because that's going to be, people are going to go through this. They're going to quantify and say, what percentage of revenue is coming from Apple? What were they getting paid? And there's rumors that this is even going to extend out to Google Pay. So let's just focus on Apple right now, but that's really important stuff. If you focus on some of the other issues that are going on out there right now, this is from South Korea. Okay. South Korea will require the companies allow competing payment systems. I mean, that's huge that countries are doing this. And you saw this happen this morning in India. So Apple must see the writing on the wall. Why Apple's bidding up on this, I have no idea, but it's not something that I would be running into. Now, you're going to have to watch this morning, but if you get above this and you can go on it, then there's something to it. And it could be like if you get through 155, I would look at buying this. But it could be that this is behind them. They know what the issue is. They can quantify what that number is going to be. People can put it to their models and move forward. It might be something like that. Like, okay, this is as bad as it's going to get. We know it's coming. Do we still want to own the stock? And so getting through 155 is huge there. But I just want to go through the companies that are really going to benefit from this. So like Spotify is really going to benefit from this more than any other company. They're the number one company that's going to benefit from this. So this should be on everybody's radar today. If it's not on your radar, put it on there now. So you can see this 146.80 level. That's this red line right here. Okay, this red bar. So you're going to want to watch this 46.80 level. If you get above that, you can easily push to 268, right? You can easily get up here to 268. You're above all your moving averages, and this could really go. So that needs to be on your watch list. Okay. This Netflix is second to me. Now, we tried yesterday to get through this level and we kind of rejected. Not really. We backed off at the end of the day, down about 10 points, which is not really much on this stock. But I would want to see it flip this level before I got involved. I'd want to see this 594 level flip, and then I would start taking a look at entering it. But I can't overestimate or explain in greater detail how important that move is. So that's what I wanted to cover there. If you have questions about that, throw it out there. If not, I'm just going to start getting into requests from the room. So let's just jump right in here and see what we have. AVGO. Let's take a look at AVGO and see what we have going on. So AVGO, what you're seeing is you're seeing a little pop with getting your head above it, and then you're starting to roll back down a little bit, right? So I would just watch this Broadcom. I'd watch anything semiconductor related just because of what we're starting to see. We're starting to see the Qs roll a little bit, right? When they need to break out here, but we're not really seeing that. I wouldn't just see a big push. So if something's going to come in, it's going to be semiconductors. This wick jumping off is not great. These two wicks testing the support level leads me to believe that this may be a failed breakout, right? We failed a couple times before. I'd want to see some confirmation before I got involved with this, and I just don't see that here. Morning, everyone. Good morning, Amazon. Well, Amazon was one we had a trade on, and we did fairly well in the options trade. I think we were up, got up to over 100% at one point. But let's now, what do you do? Well, this was the move, okay, and you had a 3% move on it, right? That was roughly the move. It's very hard to buy this, to think that you're going to make money buying this into that wedge line, right? So you have to look at a couple of things. Let's get rid of the pre and post, and let's just look at what we have to deal with. We have this little line right here, which would be a gap fill. We're sitting right here. Okay, now we're up a little bit this morning. We know that. We'll get back to that in a moment. But you're sitting right on this wedge line. So do I really want to buy it with right on the downward trend line? The answer is no, you don't, because that's the fastest way to lose money if it rejects. So what you want to do is you want to see a confirmation that it's going to go higher. So right now, if you were to look at this, your swing pivot, in my opinion, would be right here. Okay, you need to get up and over that level. And then you have to start watching this 35.80 level. That's how I would trade the stock. Hi, Melvin, APP. So APP, look, best thing you have going for you, a couple things here. One, I'm not crazy about this pattern, but I do love how this bar completely encapsulates this bar. For those that have watched that candlestick video, right, you or listen to me babble, you know that's a bullish engulfing, and you know you need to be all over those. You know they're a reversal in trend. So I have a bullish engulfing on all-time high volume. Yeah. So you need to look at this. It's a simple trade. Get above the rejection, right? Wicks are what? Rejection. Okay. Price rejection. No one likes to be rejected. Okay. $76 flip. You should be able to get up to this 86.46. That's what you're looking for. That's the move. You're looking to make $10 here, right? 10 points. And that can happen here. That could totally happen here, Melvin. I like this a lot. Did we have an earnings event? Is that what no, just straight out buying, which is even better. So we tried to get close to this line and we couldn't. And they gapped you down and it went. So that's acting exceptionally well. I like that. Hey, Nicholas, Asan and figs. So let's do Asan. Okay. Asan, we have in our newsletter at $69. So we have a position on. I think it's going to go. I mean, I think it's going to rip, and it's going to be really hard to try to catch it if you're not in it already. You had an opportunity last night, post market. I explained this earlier in the community that, hold on one second. Let me show you this. This was your level, right? I mean, that was really, there's your 15-minute range level. Okay. And the point I'm getting at here is this is when the conference call started. From when they started explaining the management changes and their vision, this is what's transpired. You come in this morning to this where you're above where you were in the first 15 minutes. This could just absolutely rip. I think there were a lot of people that were short this because software names weren't doing great. But this could just unequivocally just rip people's faces off today. So there's potential there. The question is, how do you buy it? Because you're up so high off your base. To me, the move was last night. I really have to watch it this morning because I'd like to buy more of it, but I need it to come in. Buying an overgap like up to here without another pattern behind it is just a recipe for disaster and losing money. And I don't like to lose money. So figs, I like your break here. Here's your wedge line. all you need to do is get above this level today to make a little money. All you need to do is this. See that 44.44? Flip that 44.44, get to 46.88. That's what will happen. You'll flip that level. You have a little bit of nonsense right here, 45, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. I truly don't. So I think you're going to get right through that. Here, look. Okay. I mean, see how your volumes right here? See how this volume bar completely encapsulated that volume bar, yet the stock didn't move? That means most likely, and I'll say that again, see how you have this volume bar here, and then this one's right next to it? See how you completely encapsulated this volume move, but the stock didn't move? That means people sold all into this. So whoever was up here most likely sold here, right? Because we just didn't move as much. See how you moved as much through this bar? See how this bar is right here? Right? And you see how this bar is right here? See how we moved through all that? Okay. On ridiculously late volume. That means the seller most likely is cleaned up. Seller or sellers is most likely cleaned up. So, and you learn that by understanding how to read candlesticks. I can't stress that enough. M. Oh, it was just a typo. We want to go over Mara. All right, you got it. So I was watching Ethereum this morning, and it looks like that one's just ready to rock. So Mara seems to be benefiting from this. And you're bidding up again. Finally, you're bidding up here. So this might go today. I have a hard time buying these things when they're bidding up like that. Frankly, they just never seems to really work. It looks like you started last night bidding up, right? So let's take a look at that volume and see what we see there. See if there's something that could tell us what we're supposed to be doing. So we had a gap up after hours. Let's get rid of these indicators because they're not as relevant as price. Let's put these in and just look at our range and see what we can figure out here. If that tells us anything. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? So you have a support level here at this 42.86, and you tried to test it last night pre-market when it broke out, and you just didn't get there, right? So that tells you what level you should really be watching. You should really be watching this 42.86 level and 42.77 this morning, right? I wouldn't be going near this until I flip this level, 43.65. I wouldn't touch it until I flip that and do it on volume. And I think volume's going to be hard today. I think volume's going to be really hard for you today because of the, you're going into the holiday. So ZI, I love. It just needs to act right. And let me turn this off so it doesn't keep beeping while we're doing all this. So, right, there we go. So ZI, I think it looks great. You keep moving up and you keep basing, but look, you sold down, you formed a hammer. This tells you that people don't want to sell. So you look like you can go higher. For me, I don't care about this $2. I get through 67.60. Show me something, and I'd be concerned about that too because that would be my first time, right? And I have this saying where the first mouse gets what? The trap. The second one gets what? The cheese. So you have to just kind of watch it up here. It could still go. You still have to play it, right? Because the times that it does go through, they just rip. So you want to be involved, but you need to get above that level. Net's doing what it does, and just watch this. So this trend line has not changed. I don't even need moving averages. We know we're above every moving average here. I mean, we already know that by looking at it, right? So we don't even need them. They're kind of irrelevant. We can just read price. So here's your evening star. You collapsed off of that, came back down, formed a wedge, broke the wedge, formed another wedge, broke the wedge, and where are you sitting? Right at the top of this channel. Until you flip this channel, you can't go near it, in my opinion. You have to flip that channel, and then you can take a look at it. Hey, Joshua, I covered that. Go through it, and if I have time, I can go through it again, but maybe you already caught it. Roku. Yeah, I like Roku. I was looking at that yesterday. The issue became what happened at the end of the day. So you're bidding up, or you're attempting to bid up this morning. I don't like when we bid up in the mornings, because it usually means to me that it's false and that people are going to sell into it, right? Because it takes very little money to bid stocks up in the morning. So usually it's done by institutions to lure people in retail and take their money from them. So I'm not a big fan of like bidding up. Um, I like this. I would have liked it a lot more had we closed over that level, and that's not what transpired. So you're going to have to sit and watch and wait and figure out what this is going to do. But this is not something that I'm rushing into here. I think it's setting up, and I'm definitely interested, but you need to show me something. And this is a great week for things like this to run up and then kind of fail, right? You're going to see a lot of that because the volume's so light. But I do like this, and I've been waiting for some signal, and this is it. I just wish it wasn't happening during a light volume week, right? And this was solid volume coming off from Roku, which is exactly what you want. But I don't want to fail at this level. So the way to probably play this based upon this would be to look at what indicator could give us a little more color, right? We could look at volume by price and go, oh, that's interesting. Your VWAP line's right up here, and you're riding your point of control right in here. So that's good. So that gives me a little more understanding on what's going on here, right? And you always want to use these, especially when you have a little bit of a base going on, and looking at RSI to either confirm what's going on or what may happen next is always good. And this RSI is pretty much right in line with what's happening with the stock, right? So here's your downward trend, and here's your trend line here. See where I'm going with this? So everything is fitting in perfectly here and telling you that you're all aligned. I know that could be better, but I'm just leaving it. But if we can flip 375, you're going to have my attention. I've already been looking at options on it. I have a whole plan mapped out for it, but 375 is what I would be looking for. And then go from there. And then I think you have to take the risk. Raphael, I like FNGU. We needed one thing to move, and frankly, it just got away from me, or I would have added it to the newsletter. It just completely got away from me this day on the break. I was busy trading too many other names, but I like it. I really do. And I think that it could really move here. What you needed to have happen is you needed Netflix to move. And a large portion of this is Netflix, and that's what needed to finally get up off its butt and get going in order to make money off of this trade. That's exactly what happened here. So now what we're looking to do is we want to trade back up to these levels, right? So now we're trying to get back up to this 44 level. Look, this is breaking out and looks very similar to what stock, right? What stock? I mean, like everyone should be screaming Netflix or typing Netflix into it, right? So like this is very clear that we look like Netflix. Okay, so I need Netflix to keep going. Netflix stops, this is over. So just keep that in mind. DDOG. We rallied and we tried there, didn't we? We really are trying our butt off here, but look at this level. And let me get rid of a couple things here. We really don't need this volume by price up here, right? We're kind of aware of what's going on there. I'm going to get rid of all these levels for a moment and just clean this up. And we really don't need these moving averages, right? I mean, we know what it's doing moving average wise. So let's just look at the price for a moment. Let's get rid of pre and post. This was your breakout bar, right? And I believe this was on our earnings, right? So, okay, that was on our earnings. So let's just look at this range. So you have your range set up, you break, you undercut, you think that's it, you're going to break. You come in the next morning, opens, comes down here, you go, I knew it was going to gap fill, reverses, and then the next day, what's it do on the reversal? It's very important to understand these reversals, right? That's very important to understand. When you see a key reversal like that and a flip, it kind of looks like a Morningstar pattern, doesn't it? Right on the bottom of a trend, boom, goes up to the level, can't close, can't close, can't close. Closed above it yesterday or 2 days ago on a really awful bar. Like that's not an exciting bar at all. And now I'm down again. What I would say is that this stock has a personality. And I would say that these days where you're selling down seem to hold, right? They seem to hold, don't they? So this might be it, and you might still be there. But if I close below this 153.38, you need to be out. if you're not in. Um, Good morning, Marty. How'd you weather the storm? You guys got absolutely hammered with that storm. I was looking at video. People were sending me video from New York. It's crazy. URAXBI. Global uranium. Well, apparently uranium's all the rage. You can see this right here, and I'm going to throw the moving averages in a minute, but you can already see that you're probably up which ones you're above, right? You already should know what averages you're above just by looking at it. But you kind of get an understanding of what's going on there, how we broke out through this downward trend line right here, and then how you flipped and got above this. And hopefully you can see this double bottom pattern. So if not, I'll explain it. You undercut, then you gap back up. And that means that the bottom might be in because you have a lower low. Then if you do that, you need to get above the first higher high. Technically, you could argue that it's here, right? You could actually argue that that's your first higher high. And once you've done that, you've never looked back. What I do like about this, and I don't know why uranium's so exciting. I don't know if it's because of the Middle East and what's going on there. I don't know why it's so exciting. I will say this. When you have bars like this that gap and go, gap and go, gap and go, there's a major shift going on here and people are buying this. So there's some reason why people are buying this. So really what you're looking for is to get back up here. It's not a ton of money, but there's 10% there for sure. You know, it'll be a slow grind. Spiders, the biotech XBI, look, to understand this, we have to look at this, right? We broke down. This was our trend. Now we're bouncing back up and we're going from here. I always find it helpful on indexes to go out to the monthlies and the weeklies and get a better understanding of what's truly going on. Okay. And that's what's going on. That's what you're dealing with. That's what you're fighting with. 174.04. So you need to get through that, but you have to pay attention to some of this other stuff that's out there because it clearly shows you, right? And this is why I haven't really been pounding biotech in the community and then in the newsletter. Okay, that's the monthly. Like to break a monthly trend up is no joke. Like it's not easy to do that. It's really not. So, I mean, indexes trade more like stocks, like they're supposed to, right? They trade more like they're supposed to and respect their lines more. I'd be really careful buying XBI here. Now that we've looked at that and we've looked at multiple time frames, I'd be concerned about that. And if you look at the XBI, you kind of can see why, right? You've been in a downtrend. This is what on XBI? What is this? This is a bear flag and you're buying right into it. Maybe you reverse, maybe you don't. But I'd be really cautious here. I'd be really cautious. I mean, I know here it looks good, but you have some key stuff that you really just got to watch, right? You get some key areas. You really just have to watch this. So I'm not a big fan of that. URA, Jacob, looks good. Yeah, you have that. You have the cup and handle and you have a bullish engulfing on it. Yes, I covered it earlier. AMD. Hey, Daniel. AMD. Oh, let me just see something here. AMD. So we're in this in the newsletter. It looks like 107. Let's just see what we're doing this morning. 110. Yeah, I don't really know that you're going to go much lower. I think that here's what I would argue. So see how this wick went right to the line? And the line actually was created by the wick. I should state that. So it's not like that happened, but you reversed here. You only went down half of this bar yesterday, and you did that on a hammer. So what does that mean? That means if I flip 111.71, which I could flip 111.71, I could try to reclaim this level. So this move is far from over. Now you do have this other little issue right here. You know, rising wedges are not bullish, in my opinion. So you break that line, you're going to have an issue. Keep that in mind. But I like that trade. I like that. Asan, I went over. It looks like an absolute beast to me. And let me do UPST. But look, UPST flipped no matter how ugly it is and how boring it is, but it's that same pattern where you have these red bars and it makes you think that it's over, right? And fills you with like fear and despair. I mean, it's just what it does. And then it comes back up. And then what do you have? I have a bullish engulfing. Like, are you joking? It's crazy. And then the next day, what do you have? You're like, we're not going to have follow through on the bullish engulfing. UPST is like, no, we're going to test this line again. Okay. So this is what it does. It's actually very maddening to trade. We're up a couple dollars on it, but I would have thought that we would have exploded out of it by now, but we're riding this line. And I think eventually it's really going to go. Asan, Asan, we're in. I talked about this earlier. I'll just do it really quick. We're in a newsletter at 69.30. I've been really trying to pound the table on the idea. The problem was with earnings only being up 10%, you had to risk holding it into earnings. You sold all the way back down to what, 74 last night before reversing on that conference call. This looks like it's just going to rip people's faces off today. I mean, this looks like it really wants to explode up. There's not much more to say there. I need to find a buy. I need to find an area to add to the position. I don't like buying up 10%. Because I have too much risk if I gap fill. So I have to find a way in. TNA all day long. That's not even a question right now. TNA. There's the return on there. It just looks way better. Coin. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. Look, your wedge line's broken there. You got to flip this level and go. That's what you're looking for. ETHE, I think, can double. I actually think there's a double there. I've been saying this for some time. I don't know how you're going to trade this morning off this break, but I do think there's a double here. I think you can get through this level. And let me just show you this, right? Because you really can't see this with the futures market, but this is where we opened. Once you're into this bar and you're through this level, there's nothing but blue skies, really. Very little volume. If you truly look at what happened here, very little volume, if any, was taken when this was created. So that's very important to understand. And, this traded down to, gosh, $2. And now look at it. So this can go. This could really go. And I would keep that in mind. It's definitely something that I'd be looking at. Without a doubt. Some services don't allow you to buy it. Some trading platforms don't allow you to buy it, but I like it a lot. The RBLX, I'm not really crazy about. I'm not really crazy about this trade. I know people like it a lot. Maybe you see 93, 94, maybe. I'm not really crazy about this trade. I'm not really doing cartwheels over it. I know people are doing well with it, and congratulations, but I got too many resistance points here. So look where I'm opening this morning, right into one. That's not really where you want to be. So, yeah, it can. BGFV. BGFV looks like it wants to squeeze, Terry. So it does. It looks like it wants to squeeze. What you're dealing with now, though, look at the levels that you have, right? So you can see that level and how that's important. And you can see how you rejected that level this morning, right? So I don't need to be the first in on that. I can wait and see. I'd prefer actually to just look at it up here at 34.35. I don't mind paying up $2, $3 on a stock if I think it's going to do what I think this can do. And that space, I don't know why it's going to squeeze or I don't actually have that in front of me. All I know is that, we're in this in the newsletter. I think at 135, right up $10. I mean, that whole space is on fire. HIBB, it just keeps going. The hits just keep rolling through there. So that could definitely go. Oh, you're welcome, buddy. ZIM, and MX. So just FYI, the morning videos are going to starting earlier. I haven't picked an exact time yet, but these are going to start earlier. And the post-market videos are going to go away for a little bit. So I'm going to start focusing on just doing more pre-market, being prepared for the pre-market. I just think it's going to be helpful. ZIM, we'll see how it goes for the month of September. So ZIM 52.85. I think you're going to flip that and go. That's what I think is going to happen there. But we have to see. I wouldn't be rushing into this. It keeps failing so many times. Yesterday was a great day for this. That reversal was a great day, and you closed at an all-time high. It's exactly what you want to see. So MX, yeah, you got to just avoid that completely and utterly avoid that name. So CLX and SBUX. $159.19, $178.91. You're trapped in there. There's no reason to do anything. You're trapped. I mean, there's maybe, look, if you get rid of this, I was watching this. If you get rid of this, really what you want to see is get up through this level. That's what you want. That's what you need. Okay. So, fintech, I'd avoid all fintech. I'd focus on DeFi more than fintech right now. I think people are starting to realize what fintech actually is. That's just a bank with a pretty name. Yeah, I mean, I get it. You're above you're above the 50-day. You need to stay above the 50-day and kind of go from there. So, all right, everyone. I have to jump here. It's time to go get paid. If you have any questions, reach out or email me. I have that email on here somewhere. There it is. If you have questions that you don't want to have in the comments, just simply let me know. Other than that, please leave a comment and we'll go from there. And that's really it. I'll do DraftKings real quick. I just saw that come in, and that's kind of interesting. Look, you got to get through this level. Get through 60.37, and you're good to go. That's what you need to focus on there, Leela. Focus on that level. All right, everyone, have a great day.